Welcome to So Guided, a spiritual travel guide for the curious. Join Carissa and Jenny, ordinary people exploring all the extraordinary ways we can connect to the universe. Each week, they investigate another spiritual modality and adventure through all the wild ways we can find high vibes, hope, and ultimately, enlightenment.
Hello and welcome to another episode of So Guided. Today we are talking about meditation. Over a year ago, I made Jenny record while I asked her a bunch of questions about something she does so well, meditate. It was an off-the-cuff conversation and she challenged me to do a bunch of things, and over a year later, we recorded the after of meditation. You've got questions, so do we. Let's do this. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
Hi.
Carissa and Jenny here. Today, we're going to talk about something that I ask Jenny about fairly often because she's super obsessed with it. And I, for some reason, am not as obsessed with it. And it is everybody's favorite buzzword, meditation. So here's something that Jenny and I would go for runs and she would tell me how she's meditating every day. And she would tell me that, hey, start meditating. You got to meditate. You got to meditate. You got to meditate. And I can do it. I do it. I enjoy it when I'm doing it, but it's not something that sticks with me. And I'm just wanting to, talk to Jenny and have her kind of share with us, what is it that gets her going back day after day after day, because I need something to get me there. And
I gotcha.
Okay.
I gotcha. So our common theme is that we get bored with things. We're super curious and we get bored with things.
Yeah.
I absolutely understand the meditation subject where it could feel boring and or impossible. Something called monkey mind, where you sit there and your to-do list comes up, or it sounds boring. It's a hard thing to sit down and swallow. I'll just say this before I dive in. It's my favorite subject because I love it in our woo-woo way. And what I mean by that is I wasn't in it to get necessarily peace or anything like that. My approach was to be weird with it. I wanted to feel spirit. I wanted to feel weird things. I wanted to get warm fuzzies. I wanted to trip face. And not for the normal, Allah, I'm a meditator and a yogi and Zen-la. I actually was curious about what trips it could take me on. That was actually when I really started to dig in, to be honest. So my trigger was that I wanted the good vibes. And I'll tell you how it all began.
And not just the sitting there being okay, I'm meditating. I'm not thinking about anything. You're trying to connect. You're getting internal and you're getting there every time you meditate.
No. And I think that's really important. It isn't every time I meditate.
Oh.
So I'm going to meditate 6 out of 7 days a week, if not 7, probably more often every day. And it's because it's so wonderful. And there are probably at least 2 a week where my to-do list came in and I hate myself.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there going, fuck, this isn't the week. This isn't the day. I wasted my session. And I've just learned to excuse myself and say, well, good girl, you sat here, you tried.
Yeah.
And we'll try again tomorrow. So I think you let go of being perfect and say, whatever happens, happens.
Okay.
So that's one of the first things is letting go. But I've told you how I began the meditation journey, and I think that's kind of important to share. So I'll start with that because I kind of have my gateway drugs of meditation, if you will. So I've only been meditating for 1 year. Literally, my anniversary was last month. I actually wanted to celebrate with champagne. It felt like such a
you should have.
So it has changed my life. Would you say I'm a different person?
100%. 100%.
It has changed my life. We've joked about being Scorpios and being intense and we're reactionary, and my reaction time is different and subtle and soft, and I'm more aware. I'm a softer human being from it.
Big.
So many good things. Anyway, 1 year anniversary, and I am definitely a seller of meditation. But it started because our first gateway into this world was Gabby Bernstein.
Yep.
We read The Universe Has Your Back.
Yep.
It blew our minds.
Yep.
It was when we had all the warm fuzzies of knowing that something more was out there, and it kickstarted truly this podcast and our journey in woo-woo spiritual
Yeah.
world together, right?
It was like our gateway drug. Yep.
So in her book, it was The Universe Has Your Back, or the other one,
The Manifestor one?
Super Attractor.
Oh, Super Attractor, yeah.
Okay. She had meditations that went with it.
Okay.
And this is how I was able to start. If you had said to me at that point, before I was a meditator, go sit for even 10 minutes, that would sound like an hour to me. No effing way. But I was so into what she was putting out there in this book that she had these meditations, and they were 2 to 3 minutes long. I could try anything for 2 minutes. They were literally 2 minutes. So I'll tell you, one of the first times I ever did it was like I was doing something very secretive, like cheating on my husband. I waited for my children to be gone, husband to be gone. It was evening. I turned the lights down low. I got very dramatic with myself. And I did this little teeny 2 to 3 minute one. And while I was doing it, I had full body chills. I felt a shift in the energy of the room. And I felt magical. I felt alive and one with what's around us. And it was truly an awakening. I have the same feeling telling you about it. It shocked me and rocked me to my core. I've never felt more powerful in the sense that I'm one with something, and it was done in 2 to 3 minutes.
That's amazing.
So this
2 to 3 minute.
2 to 3 minutes, it was, but I will say this, and I think it was as if myself was ready for me to find this lifetimes ago, and that I was ready to find this.
Okay.
So I think that what I find, because I try to sell it to you and my husband and a stranger on the street.
Yeah, you do.
And I don't think it has the same approach for everyone. So I'll validate that. I think my body and mind and spirit has been like, where have you been? You were supposed to discover this. So I would ease my way into this to turn it into advice when you're not into it, is to look up a guided meditation.
Okay.
And there are millions that are 2 to 3 minutes long. And I would say anyone has time for 2 to 3 minutes.
Yes.
And see where it takes you.
Yeah.
Now, there are a million different kind of meditations you could do, and that's a whole nother subject. I think that if you want to explore and you want a taste of it, to just look up guided meditation, 2 to 3 minutes, and you're going to find a bunch.
Okay.
Find a voice you like and try a couple. If you're not liking the voice, you're not going to like it. And do you like the sounds in the background? Go for it and try at this little bite-sized 2 to 3 minute to get going.
And you think that's enough time to get you, because it's building you up?
It's exercising. So of the many different teachers I found on meditation along the way this year, they say that just showing up is enough, not unlike a workout. You work out and some days you're like, holy crap, I'm a rock star.
Yes.
And there's days you show up and you're like, well, that sucked. I didn't even make it, the miles I wanted. But your workout guru would say you showed up.
Yeah,
you're training your body. So
hardest part.
You're training your brain for silence and to be in that receiving mode. So I'd say that it's starting small.
Okay.
But I guess what I'd say is, like, I one time, because I knew you were going to ask me, kind of wrote a list of why I do it.
Good.
My hope was to intrigue you to try.
Okay.
And then if you are, at the end, I have a really simple, basic gentleman I found who has a 30 days guide to meditating that I feel is wonderful for man, woman, spiritual, non-spiritual. And I will tell you more about that.
Okay, perfect.
But let me tell you about my fun ones, because I know you could do it. Number 1, it could be trippy AF. So we won't talk about what we've tried in college or otherwise, but I will say that you could get there on your own.
Okay.
And I've experienced it. So that's just, But okay, it takes away the angst, like dealing with a work situation. So I would say, obviously, I love the vibing. Like you literally high vibe. And when you're done, you feel high. And I love it.
Yeah.
It's literally a natural high. There's personality shifts. That's another one for me. I feel less reactionary in my day. It gives me a quietness that resonates through my soul. And every interaction, business, family, it pieces me out. So I'm getting trippy vibes. I'm also getting personality shifts where I'm calm, I'm peaceful, and I'm coming from a different place in my reactions. And let me be very clear, I'm so reactionary that a negative word in my family is, oh, here comes Jenny, Scorpio.
Yeah.
And I'm not anymore. Belle even said to me the other day, you're just not a Scorpio anymore.
Oh my God,
like,
that's so funny.
But it truly like helps to like quiet your mind.
Wow.
It allows you connection. If we're to talk about the universe and everything we're asking, I actually am finding answers in those quiet moments. And what's really, really cool, let's talk about the answers I get. Sometimes I'm finding the answer. I have it inside of me. My higher self is giving me the answer. And sometimes I'm having these beautiful moments where it's very, very clear to the heart of who I am that something else is with me, beautiful, wonderful, otherworldly, that's guiding me, and I'm hearing their words. And the only way I can listen to the guidance that's around me is for me to get quiet and listen. And I'm able to tap into this almost daily. It's giving me answers. And I guess we could just even push the envelope because I try not to talk about how woo-woo I am, but it's safe to say this year that I've gotten pretty intuitive because of it. So I'd say also all the things we're saying we're trying to bring out of us, it's happening because of this.
Yes.
So another positive is I am more intuitive. I'm listening. I'm looking. I'm hearing the signs. I'm feeling them. And in this quiet moment, I'm receiving.
Yeah.
So there's so many.
So it's exactly the get more by doing less. It's like by quieting and stilling yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And are you hearing these messages and getting them as like a voice, as a feeling, as a download? Like how's it coming through?
I'd say it. So I've shared with you, there's so many approaches to meditation and it depends on the day. Is it the day where I've chosen to intentionally connect to a guide? Then whatever I hear that day, if it is my voice, I'm processing it as a guide answering me. And I hear it. Sometimes they're words and it sounds like my voice, but the message doesn't sound like something I'd say.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a feeling. I find that very specifically, if it's a meditation to connect to angels, I don't hear anything from angels. I feel it in the room. Literally, I feel the air shift and become lighter, and almost like the air around me is more buoyant or gentle. So when I feel an angel, it's all the feels. It's a vibe, and the room feels different. It's like the air is shifted. I got into a swimming pool that is bathwater temperature. The room, the air, the vibe, the energy, it is like there's a different frequency in the room.
Amazing.
It feels like a warm embrace that I'm living inside of. And so I feel the angels when I ask for guidance from guides. And let me be really clear that I don't understand what that means.
Yeah.
I just know to ask for it.
Yeah.
I don't know who my guides are and if they're even what that means, but there seems to be some true source of information that isn't an angel that I'll ask for very specific information. And it often is words or occasionally I get visuals, but that usually is in a voice and it sounds like mine, but the message isn't.
Yeah. I feel like the few times I've meditated and gotten into it, I have gotten some cool downloads. Like I remember in one meditation where I got the words like stay soft, and I told you about that. Or and I was like, nothing I would ever say.
No.
Like
never.
It's something. So I know what you're saying when it comes like that. I think one of my challenges is carving out the time.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm telling myself, okay, I have time to exercise my body or exercise my mind, I tend to exercise my body.
I get it.
And so, but I feel like the exercising your mind in form of meditation and getting inside yourself is probably maybe even more important. But just like we just don't necessarily go that direction. And so I feel like the time and then also that need to get to a place like that instead of just sitting there feeling like monkey mind, or like you said, things going through my head. I crave that very deep meditation of the otherworldly.
I think I would recommend bite size is the way to start so that you don't I feel like the monkey mind might not even be as crazy in a 3 minutes because you don't have this vast landscape of 10 to 20 minutes to fill of thought. But getting to workout, it's very interesting whether it's before or after that would be better. But I actually would say if you are a person who works out, to do it and make it a part of your workout, when you've completed it, your endorphins have been running, your mind is clear. Whatever you thought about of your to-do list, you probably got through it. So what if you try it right after working out and saying, I'm plopping my rear end down in some private spot for just 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Have pre-picked your meditation, because that'll stop me some days that, what do I want to do?
Yeah.
And then you go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So pick it out in advance the day that you want to do it. See how it feels after a workout. You've already carved that time. So what is 3 more minutes?
Yeah.
You could have ran those 3 more minutes. So like pick 3 more minutes for your mind.
Yeah.
But I would say, and on the boring level of meditation that they say, but I think this is such a thing. If we start our day being negative.
Yep.
So like on that scale of how you feel as a person, 0, to 10, 10 being, the best that you could feel. And you wake up at a 5, and then your kid comes in and needs breakfast, and then you spill a coffee on you and your level goes down, down, down during the day. Like if you're at a 5 and you start your day by meditating, that brings you to a 10, then you end your day at the 5.
Yeah.
And I think that's a cool approach too. There's just so many benefits. And I think this is going to be so wildly personal to the reactions to each person. Like you might never get woo-woo stuff. It might just be that you find silence. But I'd venture to say everyone's going to get a trippy moment here and
I
there.
agree.
I believe it in my heart.
Believe it is too. And I feel like I might be an instant gratification where if I don't get it in 3 minutes, I'm kind of like giving up, where I feel like everyone can get it if you get to the stillness, because that's really what we're trying to connect to. We're trying to connect to that energy that's inside of us, which is all connected to everybody in the universe. So if you're able to do that through meditation, that's the whole point of meditation, is letting your mind stop thinking about all the things that your mind's trying to control and your ego taking over, and letting like your soul kind of have a minute. So
you just nailed it. Your soul needs its minute before our ego takes over the day.
Yeah.
Like how cool is that? Also, how nice is it to go take a step back? You literally, one of the things I start my meditation is I say to my ego, thank you for running my day and being OCD and making my to-do list happen. Right now is your time to take a vacay. Yeah. Someone else is in charge for this 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and that's the other thing too. I feel like I am if I can't commit to 30 minutes a day or 20 minutes or whatever it is, like if you can do it in 3 minutes and still get like results, like why wouldn't we do it? It's
okay.
Like, why?
So I'd also say, I think from past that you've told me you try to do it at night.
Yes. I feel like that's when
I would challenge you or anyone.
And I fall asleep.
Yeah, exactly. But I'd challenge you or anyone who has tried either time of day to pick a new one. Try the other and see if it suits you. Yeah. So, I mean, as an example, I am not a morning person. We know this. Yeah. I'm a night person. I'm not a morning person. And when I found these lovely trippy moments where I was like, I want more of this in my life, I told my husband I'm getting up 15 minutes earlier and I'm going to start doing this. So that's how I made time. I made my day happen sooner, and you can do that. Yeah. And all you have to do is ask the significant other in your life, whether it's a roommate, your husband, your wife, whomever, and say, I need you to honor 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking, because that's all I'm challenging you to start with is 5.
Right. Well, and even when I was talking to you about it and trying to get it done, because I've got a little kid, I got to put him to bed, I'm tired at night, and he's up so early in the morning. But I was like, why am I not just trying to meditate while I'm laying in bed trying to put him to bed? Mm-hmm. Like there are times you can find it, because I think that's the other thing. Sometimes I like get in my head like I need to be in a quiet room with no one around and sitting on a pillow, or like it's like very like it doesn't. It can actually be done anywhere, which I have to, instead of sitting on my phone while he's trying to go to sleep in his room and like scrolling through nothing, like I can just put it down and try to meditate, or put on earbuds and put on a 5-minute meditation. So I feel like
you could do that.
The excuses are real for why I say I can't do it, but if I take a step back and really realize it's just a little something,
it's a little
could get
something.
us there.
How about just doing the taste? Like And there's no right or wrong to it. And I think that's the other thing. We all think that there's supposed to be a certain answer. And I could tell you now, a year into it, almost 7 days a week for a year, it is different every time. And that's okay. There's no right or wrong. I always will feel better that I tried.
Right. Well, why don't you like post, to make it easier for everybody, because I know I'd appreciate this too, is like post like a couple of your favorites, like your 3 minutes, maybe like a 5-minute, 10-minute of just like a little starter pack for people to try. And then maybe we can get some feedback and see if any of our friends out there have gotten any crazy experiences or just a nice calm moment. Because
Right.
that's the other thing. Like just having a moment of calm.
Truly, I don't know that.
soul.
I don't know that this is, like I said, everyone's going to have
Right.
the experience I'm
Right.
having. I think that somewhere along the way you will, but I think just the quietness is something we all need, even if the answer is just quietness, and that the self-care of saying, I took 5 minutes for myself today.
Right.
How cool is that? So I'd say that, and I'm going to post a few of my favorites because it's super, I know that'll be helpful because where do you go from here? But before I do, it's important to talk about guided versus musical.
Okay.
And you're going to feel attracted to one or the other, and it's okay. And then I encourage you to try both. And I do a fair mix. I think in the beginning, I didn't know what to do. So guided was the answer for many, 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 many months. Then I found musical and sounds, ambient sounds. And now that's what I do because now I'm in autopilot and I can guide my own meditations. Like but I have a friend who her starting for it was just the beach, the waves that were connected to some music. From the very beginning, that's what spoke to her. It was for her quiet, and her little mind massage was what I think she called it. That was for her the answer. So you need to try both of these. And then I did have one other gateway drug meditator that I absolutely loved. And so I'll have to share that, but it's on the Calm app. So I'm going to share it. But basically, it's an app. And it was 30 days to learn to meditate. And the guy that does this, Jeff Warren, is the most magical, kind, chill dude. He just seems like a cool guy at a bar. He's not woo-woo. He's not new agey. And he will even say in the middle of a meditation, totally, are you doing it? I'm doing it. My mind just thought about my to-do list.
Yeah.
It makes it feel human. Every one of his meditations is not like 10 minutes or under. And that also felt palatable. And his 30 days was when I anchored my practice.
Interesting.
So I had tried, I explored, I had liked these different things. I was kind of playing around, and it wasn't until I did these 30 days, and they're not intense. They are not spiritual. They're not woo-woo. They literally were like almost a Jedi training.
Yeah.
Okay. It was a Jedi training and under 10 minutes. And so he's amazing. So I'm going to put that in the notes. If you just want to try it for 30 days, I love this guy. I feel like he's my best friend. He's the guy I'd like to meet. I would stop him on the street and hug him. I feel like he's my BFF. I love him and I miss him if I don't listen to him.
Yeah. You still listen to him now, even after?
Occasionally I'll go back because I love the way he does a meditation. And his were very different than my trippy ones. His were mindfulness, where you just put your mind in a very quiet, still place.
Well, I think I remember trying to start him too. And
what stopped you?
Well, I think just, again, really no
life.
Yeah. But what it was, his was very much a training of how to meditate. And I feel like some of the examples that he used and some of the ways that he approached it were super interesting because you don't think about it. Like, I think one of the things that I've heard a couple times when trying to meditate is that when you just think of your to-do list as like a train going by, so you see it going by. So it's okay that they're like, you can acknowledge it and keep it going. And so I like that. Like, I do like the baseline training of things, you know, like, so then you can get to that next level once you know just the basics of like, how do you like train your mind to allow it to be vast,
to even
open.
allow it to be there. Yeah. That's such a good way of saying it. How do you even get to that space? And I think I might have skipped that step a little bit with my first weird sessions, but like I said, he was like the groundwork that I laid. So I couldn't recommend this one more.
Okay.
For your baseline.
I think I'm going to go back to it.
All right. I'm actually going to hold you to this, and you can tell our people if it's worthy, if you agree with what I said.
I will. I'm going to go back to it.
Because we have different experiences. So you might come back and say, no, Jenny. So let's come back to this and you report back.
All right. I'll report back. And then in the meantime, everyone else try some of those mini meditations that you're putting on there.
All right. I'm putting them on.
All right.
Get trippy, people. Or get quiet.
Get quiet. Get still.
Get still.
Stay soft.
Stay soft. All right, we're back. This is a funny after of sorts because we're circling back an entire year after our last conversation. Yeah. Right? So we ended up on the little bit that you just heard about meditation was just a convo we had. We hadn't intended to necessarily air it and then decided, why not? Why not air it? And then we thought it'd be really cool to come back a year later and say, how did this evolve? Did we practice it? Am I still meditating? Did you try what I suggested? So getting into it, did you try?
Did I try? Yes.
Uh-huh.
Did I succeed? Maybe somewhat. I would say, am I at the level where I'm doing meditation daily now, which would be, I think, the ultimate goal, kind of like what you've gotten into? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So I definitely have incorporated it into when I can. But one of the things that we had talked about is kind of how I use it is more like a spot treatment. When I have time, that's still how I use it. And I tried. I tried the Calm app and listening to that guy that you like, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
So listening to Jeff and doing the daily meditations. And I really like those because they were really training your brain on how to meditate. And I would highly recommend that for everybody. Truth be told, I would listen at night when I was putting Van to bed. And I think it's a 30-day program. And it was neat because they only unlock the next day once you listen.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah,
okay.
Once you listen. Mm-hmm. So they really make sure you get through so you can't just like skip around. So you're going in order. And I think I got to like the 21st day. Unless it was 20, like I didn't finish it is what I'm saying. I think I got 2/3 of the way. I did take a lot from that. And I think that was something that I incorporate now into my meditation is the lack of pressure. Yes. I think his whole thing was like not putting pressure on yourself and just being in the moment. And we had talked about before, like how like you envision a train, just let your thoughts go by. I have stuck onto that even for this past year. We talked about it. I still think about that. If a thought comes in your mind, letting it go and getting back to where you are. So that was really helpful, even if I'm not meditating every day.
Trained, one of the things that I think clung to you too is he trained, the word was equanimity.
Yes.
Where you're supposed to do your deep breaths to start a meditation and say, I allow anything that happens in this. It's being okay with everything. If your child is making sounds, if the dog's barking, if your to-do list comes in your head, equanimity is letting all be as it is. And that was kind of my Jedi training for him. I haven't gone back to him in a year. Right?
No, you just read my mind because I was thinking that word has stuck with me so much, but I didn't know how to explain it. So I wasn't going to bring it up. So I'm so happy you brought it up. But it is one of the one words that stuck with me. And it's almost like this, like, again, I like this all encompassing of just being and allowing and expanding was a big one I took with that. So just being very open. And so, yes, the equanimity, you did a good job explaining that. That's a hard word. So that stuck with me too. So have you continued for your year?
Yes. So it's really funny to like listen to how I was talking about it, like carrying it back a year later. So what I'm happy to report is meditating stuck with me.
Yep.
Just like then it's well, actually even more. So it's pretty much 7 days a week. Unless I have a hangover. If I had a fun girls' night, I'm not doing it. Outside of that, it's every day. But what did a funny evolution happen, I was kind of in a honeymoon phase with it when we were talking. And interesting because I was still a year deep. But I had a lot more intense, like I think I was more in tune to the newness of what we were discovering. And it allowed me to be more open and receptive in a way that I'm not as much anymore. I'm sad to report, but also okay.
Yeah.
I think like any relationship, you end up saying, all right, this is lifelong. It's been more calm. So it really is more about when I was talking about starting your day at a 10 instead of a 5. Yeah. And that has always stayed true for me. I still have the meditations where every once in a while I get the really awesome one where I feel like one with the universe energy. I think we've done enough recordings and stories where you'll probably hear that I do get downloads occasionally. That's where they enter. Mm-hmm. I find that my most beautiful thoughts, the ones that feel the most guided in my life, happen right after I meditate. So when I get ready afterwards, whatever comes into my frame of reference during like putting on my makeup and showering right after I do that, I'm really aware of them being thoughts I need to hear because I'm at peace and quiet. Mm. So that actually turned out to be helpful. And I don't think I had really been in tune to that before. So it's actually a gentler practice. And I will say, because I think one of the things I want to stress is how you really are never going to be perfect at it. So 2 years into meditating almost daily is that I have crap days still. I really, really do. And I've been in a funk. We just talked about it when we went to the healer, was that I was having a couple weeks where not only that was working. I stress that because I just feel like a lot of people approach meditation as like, we need to be perfect. We can't do all these things.
Yeah. Well, I would say for you, something that I've noticed is that you may have, and you've talked to me about this, where the meditations may have like calmed a little bit, where they're not as like trippy as you would say. But I would say I have noticed that they have permeated through your whole being. Like, I think your personality and just like what meditation has done for you outside of when you're doing the 10-minute meditation a day is like making you calmer, more in tune. Like it has, and it's actually one of the things that makes me wish I was doing meditation more, because I have seen like your intuition blossom so much because of the meditation. And I know like that's why. And I was like, and so when Jenny's like, I feel like evolving and being like, oh my God, I'm getting like this, or I saw this sign, and I'm like, darn, because you're meditating so much. It really is. I know it is. And I'm like jealous.
You know what's so funny? That's actually really cool. That's not even something I had thought about discussing. So I love you bringing it up, because that actually is true. And every book we read, no matter what approach someone's taking, one of the biggest answers of any book you're going to pick up is find quiet and meditate. And you're so right. My intuition is so heightened from it.
It is. Yeah.
And then like I told you the other day, like I saw an old friend from San Diego, and, you know, those were my like wild, fun days and lots of drama, lots of Scorpio me. And she said, you're a different human. You're so at peace. Like there's a peace of, I have a certain peace and reaction time that has changed from meditation. So your comment about permeating my life, it is so far beyond those moments I report, you know, to my fur rug in my area.
No, 100%. I think that is definitely one of the benefits, but I feel like that's a gift that meditation has given you.
Totally.
It's like you've gotten so much more in tune with yourself because of the quiet that you get every day.
It does. And that's why I'll keep going back even when I'm in a lull right now. But, you know, this is funny, putting it all out there. This is us, you know, squeezing in between our real life. You might hear the doorbell ring right now. We squeezed in this recording on a busy weekend, and we were both kind of in a frantic mode. Our children are playing together right now while we're talking to you. And we just did what I love the term you use, spot treatment.
Yep.
So I want to get into how you ended up using it, because I think it's important for people to know you don't have to do it my way every day. You can say I need it occasionally. Well, we just did a spot treatment because we weren't in the mode. So right before we just started recording, we said, let's do it. And we found a 2-minute breathing.
Yes.
And we both got centered and good. So tell me about your spot treatment. So you do it at any time of day, and it really is like something's getting to you. You Google search, you search within the app we use, the Insight Timer.
Yeah.
And then you kind of search a subject or YouTube, and you find something that kind of matches your moment of what you need to be brought out of. Is that how you do it?
Yeah. Sometimes. And I feel like what I find I do more of is like on certain days where I remember it, like a full moon. We talk about full moon meditations, or when there's like, you know, like a different energy, where maybe you are feeling stressed, like we just did a de-stressor. So you're right, is based on the mood. One of the things that you had like recommended was to try to do it, in order to do it more consistently, was to do shorter meditations. You're like, just try the 3 minutes, it's all you need. And I did try that for a while, but I wasn't able to get as into it, which is funny. This little meditation that we did before we started this helped me more than normal. Yeah. And so I might actually go back to that, because after we had tried, like again, a year ago when you said it, the 3 minutes, I could not, I was just in my head the whole time. It was too short for me. So
there's the sweet spot then.
Yeah. And I had found kind of like that 12-minute for me. It was like even when I'm doing like the quick fixes, it's like that 12 minutes. And I would do it, you know, when else I do it randomly is in like, if I take a bath maybe once a month if I'm lucky, but I do it in the bathtub. That's when I'm like, oh, I'm going to be relaxed. I'll do a meditation.
Well, that sounds super magic.
It is like, it is. Ooh. So like, that's another time I'll do it. But I want to try the shorter meditations again more consistently, because that did work right now, but that didn't work. And another like thing that I'm definitely, when I do mine, is like, I'm always doing a guided. Like you had mentioned, like trying guided versus like music. And I'm still at a point where I need someone to kind of take me there. So whether it's like, you know, meet your angels or meet your guides or just de-stress, like there's so many different angles they can take you. So I guess depending on the mood I'm in, or like if I'm in the bathtub and I want to, you know, just relax for a deep sleep, or what I didn't know, one of the things I was doing was there are like yoga nidra. Yes. Is something that you had told me about, and you can listen to it when it's going to bed. It's basically like yoga for your mind, which is like, but it's just words and music. It's so peaceful. And it's super relaxing. And a lot of those come with affirmations that you can hear in your head, like when you're sleeping. So you're going to bed. Yeah, subconsciously. Like you fall asleep to it, but subconsciously you're hearing super positive things like I am love, or like, I mean, there's a million ways, whether it's for self-love, whether it's for, you know, de-stressing, whatever the mood you need. Yeah. So I did do like I have done that a lot too. So I use it like going to bed with, and I got literally for $7, I got headphones that are basically a head wrap that you can sleep in. Going to bed.
How do I not have those?
They're literally $7,
okay.
like from Amazon.
Okay,
I'll link it. But yeah, they're like nothing, and you can sleep in them.
It's amazing.
And they're like Bluetooth, and so then you can go to bed with like the affirmations. So that's another way I have used.
Well, what I love is I'm the morning and you're the night as far as how it fit in our schedule. I like that you just brought up the yoga nidra. So if you think you're someone who's going to fall asleep, there are meditations people have actually created to talk to your subconscious once you're sleeping. Mm-hmm. So exactly what you're talking about, a lot of the yoga nidras and the nighttime meditations are, if you look at the time frame, is 2 hours.
Yeah, they are.
And it's meant so that you do fall asleep, and it's like giving positivity to your subconscious. So that's really cool if you know you fall asleep.
And a lot of them have those like binaural beats that you talked about too, which is kind of like the music that hits certain parts of your brain or your chakras and just like makes you a certain point. I will admit, I was getting a little nervous because I don't hear what they're saying. So I always am afraid, like, what are they saying?
What are they implanting?
But I have like on Insight Timer especially, they do rate people, and there's all these ratings you can hear. Like these like, I woke up like so in such a lovely space, and there's like the words. So as long as you like someone's voice, I found that to be
one of the barriers to entry I find even for myself is on a day when I'm not meditating or like an hour, I'm sitting with the kids while they're watching cartoons or something. I'll listen for a quick second to meditations I want to try the next week. If you report to your like spot you want to try to meditate and you don't have it pre-known, it actually could give agita I don't know what I'm doing today. Or you pick a voice you don't like. So I try to pre-pick it.
I have, for somebody who can go down a rabbit hole like myself, that is such a good point. Like I like when you send me stuff or like we'll put recommendations because then I just do it. Because otherwise I'll waste 20 minutes when I could have been meditating looking for a meditation.
Exactly.
And then it's like, and then I'm not even in it. I'm in this mode of like searching. And so that's a really good point to know.
But it really is fun. So I think there's different approaches to the meditating. There's the, try to make it a practice. Even if you do try to do it my way, it's very important to give yourself grace.
Yep.
Allow it to come and flow how it does. And you might have months you're more into it than others. And I actually think if I have a day that's off, well, there was a reason I was meant to take a break from it, because you should also not ever feel like it's a chore.
Yes.
And then there's kind of a UA where it's a combo of, spot treatment, helping you sleep.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to do it. And the most important thing, the only rule is that there's no wrong way.
Yes.
Not to be cheesy, but like, honestly, I just really think there's no wrong way. And I think it's worth trying. So,
well, and to say like how we're always looking for signs, after we did that episode a year ago, it was unbelievable the amount of books and things and signs that we got about how important meditation is. And it's outside of just like, reading a quick meme about it. And like there are scientific studies about how good it is for you. And that was so in my face. And so I do feel like sometimes I feel a little guilty that I don't do it more often. But I love the permission that we all know it's good for us. We all know it centers us and it's good for just so many reasons, and outside of even spirituality, it's really just good for your health in general. And so I'm still feeling like I want to do more of it, but we'll share all of our resources and, give it a try.
I know. I really do. This is one where I really want to hear feedback. I would love just a single person to come back and say, wow, I really didn't meditate and I love that. But the other stories are cool too, because we get it, but I'd love to hear. So if you've ever been curious, I really am going to sit down and come up with a smorgasbord to share in our resources this time. This is an important resource for me that I feel like I want to do. Also, feel free to reach out to me directly for any feedback, any advice. I believe in this so strongly that I would be honored to help guide anyone to find the right meditation for them. There is a treasure trove of other things that I haven't talked about because they're modalities of meditation that I don't use, so not to exclude them. There are things like tapping. Tapping is where you actually incorporate mantras with actual like touching pulse points. This one I've done occasionally, and it's almost like self-medicated acupuncture, but it's with your finger points.
Yep.
There's so many layers, and it's not just what we're talking about. So do know that there is a vast sea of answers, of possibility, what you might not like. That's not just what we're saying, so be open to it. But we love meditating, and we'll keep talking about it. And I'm sure a lot of my future insights will come through from that way.
Maybe mine will too.
All right.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for listening. We've loved being your spiritual travel guides and hope this made you feel more connected. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast player. Your reviews help us create the guide that you are looking for. We'd also love to hear your stories.
You could follow and share your experiences with us on Instagram at So Guided Podcast. Your story might just be our next weekly woo-woo. Join us again next week as we continue to dig deeper into the universe. And remember, stay curious, ask the questions. You are so guided.